Happy Thursday, beautiful people. Happy Thirsty Thursday. Your girl is back. For those of you who may not know who I am, my name is Andrea Booth, your beautiful you strategist. I am the founder and leader of the Beautiful You movement, where women stop shrinking and start becoming. She is not becoming someone new. She is becoming who she already is. Her becoming is an awakening, a remembering of God's original intent for her life. This becoming is not from a place of not enough, right? But it is from a place of stepping into the fullness of who she is. As you come in the room, say hello so I can give you a shout out. And welcome to Thirsty Thursdays again. Thirsty Thursdays is a God idea, an idea that was sparked on the inside of me, where every month of this year, I'm going to be having a conversation around a particular woman in the Bible. Last month we spoke about Eve. We dug deep into Eve. And this month we're going to talk about Hagar. And I'm I feel good about the title of today's live. I am Hagar. I am Hagar. And I feel like it's such a bold move because usually when Hagar is spoken about, preached about, Hagar is usually not spoken of. She's usually not a woman who is revered, a woman that most women... Hi, Nancy Pooh. She's usually not one of the women in the Bible that women choose to want to emulate or, usually when we think about women in the Bible and who we want to be like, or who's spoken of in a great light, it's usually the Proverbs 31 woman, or it's usually Mary, or Ruth, Esther, right? Those are the women that we hear about and we want to be like. Hagar, not so much. But today, I boldly declare that I am Hagar. I am her. I am her. I am her. And I just want to know if there's anybody else who can relate to Hagar. Who is Hagar? Hey, Wanda. Hey, beautiful. Who is Hagar? Can we talk about her for a little bit? We don't hear much history about Hagar. When Hagar is spoken about in the scriptures, in the sacred text, her story begins with, actually, it's taken from Genesis 16. Her story begins in Genesis chapter 16. And her story begins like this. Oh my God, don't tell me my computer's Her story begins like this. Now Sarah, Abraham's wife, had borne him no children. She had an Egyptian slave named Hagar. So imagine someone telling your story, and that's how your story begins. Your story begins by being described as a slave. In other translations, she's described as a handmaid. And when I looked up handmaid, it said, and handmaid is like, she's someone who serves, who keeps the house. Let me, handmaid meeting. A female servant. Handmaids are fertile women who are enslaved and forced to bear children for others. They're usually used as surrogates. They are stripped of their identities. Okay? Yeah. And I am saying today that I am Hagar, but you'll find out why. Okay? So Hagar is an Egyptian slave, and she lives with Abraham and Sarah. And we all hear about we've all heard about Abraham and Sarah, right? Abraham was promised to be the father of many nations, right? And Sarah was his wife. She had a name changed. Thank you, Nancy. And they had, both of them had a son together after that whole drama, right? They had a son, Isaac, and we know about that. But Hagar gets in the mix of this situation. Okay? Hagar was given to Abraham and Isaac after they left Pharaoh. Okay? They leave Pharaoh. Pharaoh gives Abraham and Sarah a slave, a handmaid, and her name is Hagar. And when I did some further research, there are scholars who believe that Hagar might have possibly been a daughter of Pharaoh. Can you believe that? Can you believe that? I can. So imagine, think about it. Hagar just might have been the daughter of a king, of a ruler. And her father, who is the ruler, the king of Egypt, gives her away to another family to be their slave, to be their servant. Can you imagine? And Hagar goes along with this. Imagine you being the daughter of a king and someone offering you to be somebody else's slave, to be somebody else's servant, and you agree to it. Because she could have ran. She could have been like, oh, hell no. But she went along with it. Can you relate to that? Can you relate to knowing that you are peculiar, that you are set apart, knowing that you are a child of God, an offspring of God, a beloved offspring of God, yet choosing to engage with individuals, choosing to make covenant with individuals, knowing that these individuals, these situations are not in alignment with who you are. Can you relate to that? Can you relate to being the child of a king, the offspring of a king, but acting like a slave? Can you relate to that? I'm going to talk about that. This is Hagar. This is Hagar in this story in Genesis chapter 16. Hagar is the Egyptian slave of this couple. And I want us to see this from a different lens. Because whenever this story is read, it's always read from the lens of Abraham and Sarah being the elite couple, this couple chosen by God. And then Hagar is just an extra. Yeah. But no, today, Hagar is going to be the main character. Yeah. Because I see Hagar. I see her. I see her in myself. And I see her in other women. I see her in other women. Yeah. And so the first point that I want to drive home is, for us, remember, this is the week where we're going to speak about our why. There are three core distinct, three core values, three core R's in the Beautiful You movement. Who knows what those three R's are? Let's see who's been paying attention, who's been reading our newsletters, who's been paying attention to Thirsty Thursdays, who's been listening to the content. What are our three R's? The three cores of the Beautiful You movement into becoming who you already are, into removing the veil, stripping away everything that separates you from who you really are. What are those three R's? I'll wait for you ladies to type them in the comments. I know Nancy knows. Let's see who else who knows. Who else is in the room? Say hello. I know I see Wanda. I know I see Nancy. Who else is here? What are the three R's? Our three core R's in the Beautiful You movement? The three R's. The three R's. And I know there's a delay, so I'm going to give y'all time to type the three R's. Hey. Three R's. So this week, we're going to talk about that first R, okay? Which also, there's another word for that R. We're going to speak about Hagar's why. Why does the Hagar in us from time to time choose to operate from a slave consciousness? Right? And that's point number one, slave. She was first described as a slave. And us at times, we operate from a slave consciousness. From time to time, we forget who we are. All right, since no one's typing the three R's yet, I don't see it. Our three core R's are our reason, our rhythm, and our revelation. Your reason, your rhythm, your revelation. Your reason is your why. It's why you do everything that you do. Your reason is your why. Your why is the whole healed version of you, right? You always want to move from the whole healed version of you. W for whole, H for healed, you, Y for you. And any choice that you do not make from the whole healed version of you is usually a choice that leads you to missing the mark, that leads you to forgetting who you are. And anytime you want to get back, just ask yourself, what would the whole healed version of me choose to do right now? Because you can always choose again. All right? So back to Hagar. It says, now Sarah, Abraham's wife, had borne him no children. So Sarah, Abraham's wife, was barren. She didn't have any children. But she had an Egyptian slave named Hagar. So Sarah says to her husband, the Lord has kept me from having children. Go sleep with my slave. I can build a family through her. Abraham agreed with his wife. And so after Abraham had been living in Canaan for 10 years, Sarah, his wife, took her Egyptian slave Hagar and gave her to her husband to be his wife. Abraham then slept with Hagar and she conceived. And although it says Sarah, his wife, took his Egyptian wife to Hagar, Hagar still chose. Hagar chose. Hagar went along with it. Hagar went along with it. I can relate to Hagar. I can relate to, from time to time, choosing, making a choice from survival. Because what does the slave consciousness says? The slave consciousness says, I am existing to survive. The slave consciousness says, I don't have any other choice. It makes you believe I have no other choice. We're not blaming her. We're not shaming her. We're trying to understand, why would Hagar agree to have children for this man's wife? And yes, it was normal back then. It was normal. But why she chose this? She chose this because she felt like she had no other choice. She chose this because she says, this is just how it is. I'm a slave. I'm a slave to her. So I have to do whatever she says. Can you relate? Sometimes we make choices because we feel like we really don't have any other choice. Sometimes we make certain choices because we feel like we don't deserve any better because of our past. Sometimes we make choices because we feel it's the only choice we can make to stay connected. Like staying in a job where you're not valued, where you're treated like a slave, where you're treated poorly because you need that paycheck. And you're thinking, I have no other choice. Can you relate? Or staying in a relationship because you think nobody else is going to want you. You think this is the best that you could do. Being connected with certain people because you feel like if you're not connected to them, then you're a nobody. Elizabeth, stop that. Right? I can relate. I have been there. I have been there. And from time to time, I have to remind myself, Andrene, you have a choice. Andrene, where are you choosing from? Are you choosing from, Elizabeth, I said stop. Are you choosing from the whole heal you? Or are you choosing from the you that thinks that you're not worthy? The you that thinks you don't have another choice. The you who was abandoned. The you who was verbally, emotionally abused. The you who doesn't feel seen, who doesn't feel heard, who doesn't feel appreciated. I am Hagar. So Hagar went along with this. And let's talk about Sarah. The woman who gave birth at 100 years old. The woman who's revered, who's talked about, Abraham, who's talked about as a man of faith, which he was and is. I won't take that away from him. But let's also talk about how this couple exploited this young woman. She was exploited. She was used. Right? She went from a slave, to now being his wife so they can have children. Used for Sarah because she felt, I can't have any children, so I'm going to give you, you can sleep with her. You can make her your wife to make up for the fact that I don't feel enough as a woman. Yeah. This is what happens when we operate from a slave consciousness. This is what happens when we play along with other people's, when we subject ourselves to other people's agenda. This is what happens when we don't remember who we are as women. This is what happens when we don't step 10 toes. Stand 10 toes in who we really are. This is what happens when we do not settle, but we are set apart. Right? So, she plays along with it. And guess what happens? It says, Abraham slept with Hagar, and Hagar conceived. Of course she conceived. Of course. She's a princess. She's the daughter of a king. Of course she conceived. She's fruitful. Of course she conceived. She's gifted. Of course, Hagar, I'm talking to you. I'm talking to the woman who every person's life you are connected to. Whether they are connected to you for who you really are at the core or for what they can get out of you, of course you're going to add value to their life. Of course. You are Hagar. You are gifted. You have seed. You have gifts and talents, and you are filled with so much purpose on the inside of you. Of course you conceive. You forgot who you were. You forgot. But you know what's so funny? Abraham and Sarah knew she would. Yes. I'm speaking to every Hagar who listens to this message. The people who overlook you, the people who exploit you, do you know why they exploit you? Because they know what you have on the inside of you. They know. They see it. They just don't want you to see it. So So we can't get mad. We got to stop getting mad at people. I'm even talking to African Americans. We got to stop getting angry at the people who marginalize us. We gotta take that anger and use that energy to really step into who we are and come together as a people. They want us to be tired. They want us to be worn. They want us to forget who we are. They want to wear us out. But this story, Hagar, shows us, she will show us, that we can move from a slave consciousness to being seen. So the first point is slave consciousness. We have to transcend from just existing. We have to transcend our why from a space of, I am this way because my mother and my father abandoned me. I am this way because my teachers told me I would be nothing. How you doing, Miss Pat? I am this way because this person betrayed me. I am this way because I've always been rejected. We got to transcend that. We got to transcend this slave mentality. And Hagar shows us that we can, because she was there. She was there. Anyway, of course she conceives. Of course, we as a people, particularly women, Black women, of course, through everything that we have been through, we look at how with everything America has tried to do to bring us down. Look at how we still triumph. Look at how we still have, we have the most inventions. Look at Black Wall Street. Look at us now. Look at the greatness that flows through us. Look at what is happening in Africa now. Look at how parts of Africa is thriving. Of course Hagar is going to conceive. What you thought? One thing about us, one thing about Hagar, and if you're listening, you are a Hagar. It doesn't matter what we go through. It don't matter what we go through. It doesn't matter how low we get. We're always going to come. We're always going to conceive. We're always going to create something. We're always going to give birth to something. We're always going to come out greater. Always. And Hagar conceives. And then check out what happens. It says, Hagar, when she knew she was pregnant. Okay, wait. Before I go into that. So, she shifts from the slave consciousness and then she goes into the second S, the second phase, which is serving. But she's not serving herself, she's serving others. Can you relate? Can you relate? Right? So, sometimes we elevate, we grow from being treated like a slave, from just making choices out of this is just how it is, to a phase now where we feel like we have to perform to be valued, right? So we shift from being slaves to serving. And this is what happens to Hagar. she sees an opportunity, right? Hey, Sarah's like, okay. And I feel that Sarah probably posed this to her in a really sweet way. She probably said, oh, this is your opportunity to no longer be a servant. Now you can be a wife. They'll pose it to you as an opportunity when you don't really know, because they're banking on you not really knowing who you are. That's what they're banking on. But little do they know that what they're trying to do to you is only going to make your eyes open, because you're going to see. You're going to be like, hold up. But let's talk about that second phase, right? You shift from a slave mentality now to serving, where you feel now you have to perform to be valued, right? Sarah says, go sleep. Go ahead and sleep with my husband. I'll make you a wife now. Meanwhile, Sarah, she's really trying to get kids out of her. Okay? Now she sees her as being useful, or maybe Hagar is like, okay, maybe this is my opportunity now to be useful. So if I do this, maybe they'll treat me better. Maybe they'll see me. Right? But here's what happens now when we start performing. When you start performing, you end up feeling exploited. You feel used. You feel dirty. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you ever been in a relationship with someone and you feel like you're trying to earn for them to love you. You're trying to earn for them to like you. So you feel like if you buy them gifts, and the more you do is the more they'll see. And it seems like the more you do is the less they see. Yes, looking for validation. You're productive, but you're not protected. You're celebrated for what you give, but you still feel invisible. And this is where most times we stay in these situations really long, because we just don't understand. Because on one hand, you're like, well, if they didn't see value in me, then they wouldn't want to be around me. They wouldn't have asked me. He wouldn't have asked to go out with me if he didn't like me. He wouldn't sleep with me if he didn't like me, if he didn't feel some way about me. Maybe I feel like they're my friends. If they didn't think I was a friend, then why would they hang with me? Let me tell you something. People will hang with you. People will sleep with you. People will use you for what you have and not love you for who you are. They will. It's a reality. And this is what Sarah did. God knew. But we're shifting from serving, from slave, serving, to this. Check out verse number 4. It says, when Hagar knew she was pregnant, she began to despise her mistress. Guess what happened to Hagar? Hagar's eyes opened. Hagar was like, hold up. Wait a second. I'm looking after your house. I'm taking care of you. I'm doing all this stuff. Plus done gave you a baby. What you doing? You doing? You ever wake up and be like, wait, hold up. I'm doing all of this, and you just being you. I'm here trying to prove that I'm somebody and something, and you just over there just doing nothing, and you the black people wake up. Black people are waking up. Women are waking up. Hagar woke up. She began to despise. Have you ever been there? Where it's like it clicked? Where you realized you were the prize all along? Where you were like, hold up. Hold up. She had me thinking I was a slave, that I had to do all of this. She had me thinking she was doing me a favor. He had me thinking he was doing me a favor by being with me. Meanwhile, I'm the prize. He had me thinking horribly about myself. Meanwhile, I am the prize. I was here minding my business, just trying to survive. I was just over here keeping silent, not saying a word to keep the peace. Meanwhile, you over there exploiting me. And I'm the one conceiving. I'm the one gifted. I am the prize. Hold up. Hagar woke up. She went from thinking like a slave to serving. And let's see where she transcends to. So guess what happens? When Hagar realizes that, hold up, I conceived. It says, Sarah said to Abraham, you are responsible for the wrong I am suffering. I put my slave in your arms, and now that she knows she is pregnant, she despises me. May the Lord judge between you and me. It sounds a lot like what's happening in the world right now on so many levels. Black people waking up to who they really are. And America having the nerve to despise her for it. To despise us for it. After what they put us through. After what they put us through. Abram says to Sarah, your slave is in your hands. Do with her whatever you think best. And guess what it says? Then Sarah mistreated Hagar. How dare Sarah? How dare you? You use this woman, right? You exploit her. Let's call a spade, so she can have a child. And now that she has this child, and now she's like, okay, you got to put some respect on my name now. Because you made me a wife. Not only did you make me a wife and I agreed to sleep with your husband, I conceived. I have a child now. You need to put some respect on my name and stop treating me like a slave. Sarah is annoyed. But she did exactly. So what did you think? What did you think? You thought that she would conceive and then go back to acting like a slave? Have you lost your mind? It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. So that means you're okay with me being down. You don't mind me being in the house. You just don't want me to think like you just don't want me to believe that I'm somebody. You want me to play small. This is what Thirsty Thursdays is. This is a place for women to wake up. To shift from shrinking to becoming. Because let me tell you something. Everybody else is benefiting from you playing small. Meanwhile, you're the one hurting. Because every time you shrink, I could only what's happening to your joints, your bones, what's happening to you on the inside. Every time you shrink. It's like staying in this position. That's not good for our back. Everybody else benefits from you shifting, from you shrinking. Well, everybody who can't handle, everyone who can't handle how gifted and amazing you are benefits from it. But there are people who need what you have. There are people who really love you, who really see you. There are people who won't pretend like they don't see you. Because let me tell you something. People see you. They see you. But they'll pretend like they don't. Because they're afraid if they show you that they see you, that it will make them small. Yeah. Little do they know that when they see you, when they see the bigness in you, and when they acknowledge it, when they affirm it, they simultaneously affirm the bigness, the godness in them. Little do they know that. But unfortunately, white America, I have to speak about what's happening in the world too. White America is so afraid. They've been afraid for years. For some reason, they have this sickness, this mental illness, this thinking that if black people really know who we are and what we're made out of and what we're made from, that somehow it's going to make them small. And no matter what has happened, they still think that way. Listen, if black people were like that, we would have taken over a long time ago. We would have done it a long time ago. But we're not like that. But do you see what fear creates? And bringing it to a micro level, think about all the relationships that you are a part of. The people who you are connected to. The people who latch on to you. The people who you latch on to. Do they really see you? Or are you a pawn in their game? Elizabeth, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Mommy.
What are you doing?
Mom.
Uh-huh. I know you're up to something. Let's go. Get over here. What are you doing?
Mom.
You're playing in the water?
Mom.
Yes.
Mom.
Go dry your hands. I knew it, y'all. I could hear the water running. This girl. That bathroom better not be a water mess. But fast forward. As you think about this. When Sarah started mistreating her, Hagar, thank God Hagar realized who she was at that point. Hagar, it says, Hagar fled from Sarah. Hagar said, later for this. You think, Hagar said, I'm out of here. Nah, I'm done serving you. She elevated. Yes, honey? Hagar said, okay, I'm done being, I was done being your slave. And now I'm done. performing. I'm done serving you. Right? She was way too quiet. I'm done serving you. I'm done performing for you. I'm done trying to prove to you that I'm so much more. I'm done. Because even with conceiving now you're turning against me. Hagar said, I'm out of here. I'm done with performing. And she fled. And then in verse 7, and you see, this is why I believe God gets excited when we get to a place where we're like, enough is enough. Have you ever been in that place? I know I have. I know I have. It's a painful place. It's a place where you're angry. It's usually a place where you're so broken you feel so broken on the inside. But it's like you just can't take it no more. You're like, I've had enough. And although you feel at that point like you feel like nothing, you feel depleted, you feel broken down, that's when God is like, okay, I got you right where I want you. It's when you get sick and tired of being sick and tired, God is like, yes. Because sometimes that's the only time we'll learn. It says here, after Hagar fled, the angel of the Lord found Hagar near a spring in the desert. It was the spring that is beside the road to Shur. And the angel said, Hagar, slave of Sarah, where have you come from and where are you going? Listen to the question. I'm just seeing that. Where have you come from and where are you going? Wow. Listen to the questions that are asked. And usually when we get to that fork in the road, those are the questions that come up. The question is, what have I been doing? Or, what have I been doing? You think about where you've come from. And then you're like, okay, this is where I've come from, but I cannot stay here anymore. Where do we go from here? You see those questions that come up inside of you when you've reached that fork in the road? That's the voice of God. That's the angel of the Lord speaking. That's God speaking on the inside of you and asking you the questions. Because you need to answer those questions to transcend into the next phase of consciousness. And she told the truth. She said, I'm running away from my mistress Sarah. Then the angel of the Lord told her, go back to your mistress and submit to her. Now, I had a problem right there. I was like, why would you tell me to go back? I don't want to go back to that. I'm not going back to being nobody's slave. And I'm not going back to serve or perform or prove nothing to nobody. I'm over it. But God makes her go back for a reason. God makes her go back for a reason. Before God sends her back, God is not sending her back for her to become a slave again and to perform. She's going back different. This is not to say to go back to that old relationship that didn't serve you. No. This is saying you're getting up from where you are. You're going back to life, because we can't run away from life. You're going to go back to life. You're going to face what you left. But you're going to face it differently. Yup, in the brokenness is where the work is being done. Amen. Because sometimes you can leave a relationship, you can leave a job, you can leave a friendship, but ain't nothing shifted. And guess what happens? You just end up in that new job, but you go through the same thing all over again if you didn't learn your lesson. You end up with a new boo who ends up just like the old boo. Right? It's just a new body, but the same situation. And you're like, hold up. Yeah. So God is like, okay, there's some things that need to heal. There's some things you got to deal with. I'm glad that you understood that this is no longer where you desire to be. But now you got to have a different why. Your why has to shift. Right? You're going to have to make choices from the what? W. The W and the Y. From the whole, the H. Healed version of you. The Y. And it says, go back to your mistress and submit to her. The angel added, I will increase your descendants so much that they will be too numerous. If you do the work, if you heal, God wants us to go back to those places that we won't address. Go back and heal those wounds. Heal those lands. Because guess what? I have a promise. There's a promise on the inside of you. And so Hagar, although always spoken of as the illegitimate wife, and Ishmael always spoken of as the illegitimate son, do you hear what the angel added? I will increase your descendants so much that they will be too numerous to count. Hagar got the same promise as Sarah. She got the same promise. Don't let nobody, don't let anyone make you think that your future is not going to be bright because of the choices that you made in your past. Don't ever, before I even talk about nobody, don't you ever make yourself illegitimate because of the choices that you made. Because of where you work. Or because you may not have a college education. Or because you may have had a divorce. Or because maybe you may have had to file for bankruptcy. Or maybe you experienced a foreclosure. All the things. Do not let anyone make you an illegitimate person because of the mistakes you made. Or because of what has happened in your past. Don't you ever. That promise that God gave you before you were formed in your mother's womb. The scripture says, before you were formed in your mother's womb, I ordained you. So you know what that means? There's nothing you could ever do that could ever stop what I ordained. People can say what they want to say. But I, God, keep my word. I keep my word. The promise is still going to be fulfilled. The promise is still going to be fulfilled. Yes. And guess what she says? I love this. So wait, the angel of the Lord also said to her, ooh, let me tell you something. When God get ready to tell you about what God... The angel of the Lord said, you are now pregnant and you will give birth to a son. You shall name him Ishmael. For the Lord has heard your misery. And then further down, it says this. She gave this name to the Lord who spoke to her. And it says, "You are the God who sees me." For she said, "I have now seen the one who sees me." Let me tell you something right now. We're going to end it here. Hagar transcended from a slave mentality to serving others for approval, for validation, to now being seen. Finally seen, but seen from the one. The one. Who is that one? God. Let me tell you something. God sees you. God sees you. And sometimes God will hide you. God will keep you hidden for a season. God will allow others not to see you because God wants you to know that God sees you. God doesn't want you to perform. God doesn't want you to seek validation outwardly. God wants you to go within. God wants you to look to God for validation. Look to God. Look at what God said, what God promised. Every time you feel unseen, read the promise that God gave Hagar. God is giving you the same promise. Yes, I see you. Your daughter has that sign, the eye in her room. I see you. Listen, I want to get that in my room. We want to transcend proving ourselves to people. Most of us have grown out of being a slave, that slave phase. But some of us are stuck in the performing, the serving, and the giving, the overgiving, the serving. And God is like, daughter, I see you. I promise you, you don't have to do all of that. I see you. I promise you. You don't have to buy expensive clothes. You don't have to overspend. You don't have to overgive. You don't have to give your body to every Tom, Dick, and Harry to feel seen. I see you. I see you. And when you finally believe and know that God sees you, your whole world will transform. Matter of fact, you'll start to discern. There's certain relationships that you have, you'll realize it's not serving you. It's serving them, but it's not serving you. Yeah. Yeah. And you'll start to release and let go. Let's transcend like Hagar from being slaves, thinking like slaves, feeling that we have to serve others and perform for others to be valued and validated. And transcend to being seen by God. We don't have to perform for God. God sees us, period. We don't have to try to prove anything to God. We don't even have to please God. We don't. God says, just do what I say. Be obedient. Follow my ways. And you will see. You will see. I hope this encouraged you. This message was for me. This message was for me. You just so happen to listen in. And if it lands for you, I'm happy for you. But this message is for me. I am Hagar. I am her. I am Hagar. Anyway, that's it. I love you guys so much. Have an amazing night. Bye for now.